Thank you, everybody. I would like to talk to you today about more like philosophical and conceptual point of the so-called Web3 and the evolution of the internet, and actually what is next after Web3. So let's start with not confusing web and the internet itself. So the World Wide Web is basically the pages that you see that on your phone or on your screen of the laptop when you're online, while the internet itself is the network of interconnected computers all over the globe that the web works on, and at the same time is what all of our emails and files and data is traveling across. At another level, we can also think of it, of the internet as a hardware and web as basically the software, which can upgrade and upgrade and upgrade to the next generations. So let's see the transitions between all of these, like Web 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's discuss where is humanity right now at this position, like what is the current progress of our technologies, what really is Web3, and if there is any final definition of it, and how will or may Web 4 look like in the future. So the Web 1 started this term in actually earlier than 90s, but it got popular in early 90s. So it is the informational web. It is based on client pool model only, which means that it can be initiated only with the client, and the users can only read the information, so they cannot interact anyhow with the content of the pages. So that type of web had no comments option, no answer, no interaction, so no two-way communication whatsoever. But it had another type of plus, because it was running on the fully decentralized infrastructure, and it had a set of standards that everyone knew, and that was enabling quite interoperability. So it had free open source protocols that anyone could use. Also, Web 1 had full composability, which means that you can take the already existing softwares, several of them, compose them in one, and create a new software without the permission of the developer. So basically anyone could build a software that interacts with any other existing software. But in the Web 2, all of these parts we lost, basically. Why? So yeah, Web 2, it's read and write internet now already, with its peak from 1999 to 2004. Why did it lose all of the decentralization, let's say? The big companies, they started realizing that the more user data they own and they possess, the better product they can create. Thus, they can get more sales, thus they can get higher revenues and more profit. So the core focus of all the big internet companies started to dedicate to customer retention and to trick the customer in every possible way to stay at their platform, to be loyal to their software. So it led to all the closed source tech. And eventually started holding users as hostages, basically, that don't own their data, and even though they started creating data on the internet, they did not have ownership of it. So it led to hyper-centralization, eventually lack of interoperability and composability. So yeah, Web 2 had a lot of cool stuff, like mobile, social, and cloud, like the three main pillars of the Web 2 evolution. So known as read and write web, it's known for the huge boom of the social media and mobile apps. It was indeed a new way of using internet technologies that would support the collaboration and gathering the human knowledge into the collective intelligence by sharing user-generated content through applications like Wiki and blogs and Google Docs and Slides and Dropbox, and businesses like Uber and Airbnb came up, and the social media boom like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So yeah, you could write, modify, communicate, co-create, and collaborate. All of that is great, but the huge lack of decentralization, or none in this case, not losing on interoperability, composability, and a huge loss on data security. So Web 3 started to focus on kind of bringing those things back. So through decentralization through the blockchains, bringing back the security through the trustlessness of of the technology itself, empowerment of users through finally ownership of their data and what they create now they can prove that they own, and scalability and privacy of the internet services. So Web3 is now read, write, and own. It is very arguable when exactly this term was coined, because people actually started talking about it, like John Markov in New York Times, since 2006. But actually now, if you Google it, Wikipedia is going to tell you that it was coined by 2014 by Gavin Wood, which I, to be honest, not really particularly agree with that. So there's a huge dispute even when did Web3 start at all and what does it really mean. So several definitions that you can find all over the internet, that Web3 is a semantic web readable by machines and not only humans. So this also can be understood, as I mentioned before, as read, write, own phase, so basically giving the power back to the users. Web3 has a strong emphasis on all the dApps and all the blockchain-based tech, plus of course all the machine learning, AI, like all the technologies like VR, AR, so the digital identity and governments, NFTs and digital avatars and all that. Many people see Web3 as well as the 3D web. So the transformation onto the web itself into the three-dimensional, interactive, social, gamified environment. So following on from the Second Life, or right now the term of the metaverse, which is basically a similar concept to Second Life, like similar concept of co-created social gaming ecosystem, but now it's on the blockchain and in VR. Is there maybe something that I missed out? Does anyone want to add something to it? Like, what is Web3 for you? Yes, that will be discussed as well. Anyone else? Password? A buzzword, exactly. Yes, absolutely. Do you want a microphone?
I was going to say, yeah, like around 2006 or so, that was kind of being things like Freenet, where, that was technology in a decentralized way to go publish. And I mean, that sounds like that fits more into Web3 than a lot of the tokenized schemes. Yet, of course, we've completely forgotten about that, and it's certainly not on the Wikipedia page.
Thank you. All right, so like the common tools that we know of today that are marketed as the tools of Web3 is like all the DeFi products, the decentralized exchanges, DAOs, dApps, the smart contracts and NFTs, metaverses, decentralized browsers and domains, which all of them will promise you that you're gonna own your own data, be your own bank. It'll give you high privacy and security, no tracking, no ads, creators economy at the main focus, and introduction of play to earn, because before, for example, kids were not playing games to earn any money, but right now anyone of 2-year-old can earn sats by just like pressing a couple of buttons. So but is it really so? Are all these promises really fulfilled right now? How do you guys think? Nope. I also think that nope, at least not yet. So, is Web3 a clearly defined technology and term? Well, it's a little bit of yes, but it's also kind of a no. Is it just a hype word to buy the attention of the masses, like Web3, metaverse, like join the new high-tech cool stuff? Yes, it definitely is, but at the same time, I mean, it's also a part of the progress, and it's a part of humanity moving to the next technological level. But is it solving like all the main issues, like the decentralization, polarization, like poverty, energy consumption, and all of those things? Well, it's trying hard, and people are marketing themselves as they are trying to solve all these problems, but the reality is that it's really not there yet. just a quick reminder that like Web 3 does not cancel Web 2 or Web 1. So all of those upgrades, they will all of those versions, they will always remain accessible at the core base of every next generation. So the Web 4, the Web 5 are just going to be the upgrades. It doesn't mean that we're going to get rid of Web 1, but it will still always be there. So what is going to be Web 4, and when and how is it going to look like, and what is like the philosophical goal of this? So many people perceive the future of the Web 4 as the symbiotic web, where the machines and humans work as one, or something like that. So some of the terms that you can find is that Web 4 is going to be finally fully controlled by the consumer and give him full control of the actions and the data. Well, let's see if that's ever going to happen. It could be the read-write execution concurrency web that would provide global transparency, governance, distribution, participation, like to the vital communities and industries and politics and society and all the others. So some people see Web 4 as basically an intelligent mirror of the existence and humanity per se that provides concrete solutions to what the user needs. It will be related very closely to digital alter egos and interactions with the new interfaces like intelligent machines and AI and all of that. Some people see it in a very dystopian manner that eventually is gonna cancel all the decentralization and keep it as the buzzword to make people believe that it is, but in fact it's gonna be controlled by the big informational and tech giants. So, and that will affect, of course, not only the digital world, but all of the reality around us. So, in my personal, humble opinion, I would point it like that. So, how I see Web 4 personally, that it will become a holistic merge of all the existing technologies through the mapping of all the human knowledge into one ecosystem for ecosystems, let's say. And it will map it into the new internet browsing experience for users, dedicated eventually to the search of the global consensus and the ultimate truth. So, which will mean that the protocols, browsers, that the new protocols will be created and implemented into the browsers and the search engines, all of them, and unify humanity into the new way of searching and browsing experience, where a user could move around with his, her digital avatar, hopping from one platform to another platform, like from Fortnite to Facebook to Decentraland, easily through one, finally, Web 4. Yes, and so yeah, using one single personalized account without having to log in separately as we do right now in the day-to-day. So, what is going to be next in the other generations of the internet? Does anyone has any philosophical vision? Are we ever going to be mentally connected with a big internet machine, with the chips in our brains, or how do you see the future of the internet? What is the maximum that you guys can imagine? Do you have any? Yeah, please.
What do you think about Neuralink?
Right. Yeah, so maybe companies like Neuralink with those ideas is something that might shape Web 4 and the future of the internet too. Yeah, so symbiotic web, I think that this is exactly what it means by very deep interaction between the machines, the global human knowledge as a whole, and a user. So, thank you.